Hello, this is my capstone project of data analysis in Codecademy. Today the topic is biodiversity. My name is Warren Tao, and this is my first English presentation. It took me about 5 hours to finish the coding in Python, and another 5 hours to make this keynote. So let's begin. I have divided our keynote into three parts. The first part is a brief description of the data, and the second part is the significance calculation for endangered status between different category of species. And the last one is simple size determination for the foot and mouth disease study. So let's start from the first part of my presentation, the brief description of the data. We're going to talk about two CSV files to be analyzed. The first one is species info.csv. It has 5,824 rows. And another one is observation.csv. It has 23,296 rows. So let's take a look into the first CSV file. The species info.csv include four different columns. The first one is category, and the second one is scientific name, and the third one is common name, and the last one is conservation status. We have 7 different categories, which is mammal, bird, reptile, amphibian, fish, vascular plant, and a non-vascular plant. And for the scientific name, there are 5,541 scientific names in total. And for the common names, there are 5,504 unique common names in total. And the last one is conservation status. There are 5 status of conservation: species of concern, endangered, threatened, in recovery. Because we don't have the information of all the species, so some keys are meant to be empty, which is null. And let's talk about the observation.csv. We have 3 columns: scientific name, park name, and observations. There are 5,541 scientific names in total. For the park name, there are 4 national parks: Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Yosemite National Park, Bryce National Park, Yellowstone National Park. For the observation, it's just to present the number of animals being observed. Alright, it's time for calculation. The column conservation status has several possible values: species of concern, threatened, endangered, in recovery. We like to count up how many species meet each of these criteria, so we use pandas. There is a command called group by to count how many scientific names meet each of those criteria. The result shows there are 4 in recovery, 10 in threatened, 16 in endangered, and 161 in species of concern, and there are also the most of them are in no intervention. The number is 5,633. We can also see the results in the bar chart on the right. And we also use pandas to show the numbers of animals in different categories being protected and not protected. We pivot the table so we have our result on the right, and we also calculated the percentage that's being protected. We can see the BAML has the highest protected ratio, while the vascular plant has the lowest protected ratio. It looks like the mammal are more likely to be endangered than bird, so I'm going to do a significant test to see if we can reject the hypothesis now. We can see in the table the mammal there are 30 being protected and 146 are not protected. The protected ratio is around 17%. For the bird, there are 75 being protected and 413 are not protected. The protected ratio is around 15.4. And we also notice the data is categorical and there are two pieces of data to be compared. So we select cheat contingency test for the significant test. We form the contingency of 30, 146, 75, and 413. So we run the test and we got the result of the cheat contingency. So we can see the p-value is 0.68. It's bigger than 5%. So we can't reject the hypothesis now. The difference is not significant. If we run another test of reptile and mammal, uh, the we can just easily jump to the conclusion. The p-value is 3.8%, is less than 5%, so we can reject the hypothesis now. The difference is significant. The final part of my keynote is about sheep protection. After some merging, calculating, and counting in pandas, we can just get a table down below. It shows the sheep observations in different national parks. If we group them by the parks, we can have the observation of sheep per week in different national parks, and the bar chart down below shows the result of the counting. We have been informed that 15% of the sheep at Bryce National Park have foot and mouth disease, and park ranger at Yellowstone National Park have been running a program to reduce the rate of the disease. We want to know whether the program is working. We set the minimum reduce rate in 5%, and the level of significance is 90%. Therefore, we have the three key values to calculate the sample size per variant. The minimum detectable effect is 33%, and the baseline is 15%, and the statistical significance should be 90%. So the result is 510. We have to observe 510 ships to know whether the program is working. Thus we know The Bryce National Park needs 2 weeks, while Yellowstone needs around 1 week to observe the enough sample. Here we got the conclusion for the study, the tips for the conservationist. According to the tables of conservation status by category, mammal has the highest protected rate. However, we can't just say mammal is the most endangered species because comparing with the bird, which has a tiny little bit lower protection ratio, there are high possibility that the result is due to a hypothesis. Now, here are the tips. Pay attention to the species that have close protected rate. A significant calculation should be done to make sure there is a significant difference. If there's no significant difference, the assumption should be they are in the same conservation status. Calculate the right sample size before starting the program. In recovery and threatened species should be the top priority for the conservationist because they are small in group and very endangered. This is my capstone project, and thank you very much.